Hello, chefs. Good evening. We are back again. I'm Isaiah, the young Jedi chef, here with the Dragon Warrior chef, German Lam, and the Phoenix Warrior chef, Noreen. We will be your host for today's podcast. You are listening to a unique podcast where we will discuss tough yet real topics that need to be heard in the industry. In this podcast, you will hear the truth, real, raw, and unfiltered. Today, we have the honor of having Jordy with us to talk about creating an experience to remember. I'm excited to get started and jump right in. So without further ado, I'll let the star of our show, our guest, Jordy, introduce himself. Jordy?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jordy Castillo. I'm a 30-year-old young, hardgoing entrepreneur here in Las Vegas. I'm a native to Long Island, New York. And my first and foremost, my love is dance. I'm a professional dancer, but I've translated that into many other avenues, whether it's personal training and fitness or becoming a production manager or now owning my own business called Waiting for Tonight, which is essentially an elevated networking event and showcase for all arts communities, both fine arts and performing arts.
So, Jordy, we're so excited to have you here today. You could tell the passion in your voice as you introduce yourself. It's going to be a great conversation. I'm super excited to get started. So, thank you so much for that. Uh,
Thank you.
yeah, of course. The world of hospitality is so broad and diverse with so many different avenues and career choices you can take. Regardless of what route we take, we all have one common goal, and that is to create unforgettable experiences for our guests and the people that we serve. In order to do this, it is important that we have an idea of what story or concept we are trying to sell and offer our guests. When crafting a memorable experience, it is essential that everything in the space and everything is that is served is intentional and has a purpose. In this industry, you must be unique and set yourself apart from others. When creating or planning an event, how can you set yourself apart from your competition? What things can you offer that no one else could offer? Jordy, you want to start us off with that question?
Yeah. So I went to school for a little bit for business, and I understand the fine art of marketing and the importance of marketing and understanding what your brand is. And I've also learned that working with my sister back home in Long Island, she does a lot of brand development and artist development. So when I created Waiting for Tonight, I knew that I there's a lot of performing events, whether it's showcases and stuff, here in Vegas, New York, LA. They all have a very similar foundation of let us provide a platform for those creatives to showcase their work. Taking that, I said, how could we elevate it and make it different? Well, the fun story is that my first event stemmed from like an idea that I had in my early 20s, in my late teens, so over a decade ago. What I thought was going to be a wild 30th birthday party, Waiting for Tonight. Yes, it's inspired from Jennifer Lopez and her music video, but actually turned it into an actual business. So what started off as an Instagram post looking for dancers, models, and all these different avenues in the entertainment industry turned into a casting call for then creating a showcase to highlight all these beautiful local artists. And then um, just evolving it into the fine arts as well, because I always have a love for the arts. It's a huge inspiration to me as a creative, as a dancer, a choreographer, a visionary. Um, so I had to create a mood. I had to create an aesthetic and simple tools that I think we all pretty much have, Pinterest and Spotify. So I created a Spotify playlist of the sounds and the aesthetic that I was looking to go for there, but I created a pin board of what that was going to look like. What was the experience that these guests were going to walk into? So whether it be different lighting scenarios, different sceneries, maybe animal prints or smoke or lightning or things that were able to capture the essence of what it is that the guests were walking into, that I was curating for them as part of this experience. Um, so that's kind of just been my template for everything, and stepping me up from one person or one company, one brand to the next is being able to expand the horizons a little bit more, being more inclusive to not just the performing arts but the fine arts as well, local businesses, but curating a space and a place for all these beautiful people to have a whole experience. You're not going to just come into a warehouse or come into a club or a venue. You're coming into something that you know between the music and how everyone is acting or dressed. There's a dress code for my event. You know, they're walking into something like they haven't before. So I want everyone to feel very special, whether you're performing, whether you're showcasing your artwork, or you're attending and taking in it all in as if you were, you know, someone going into a restaurant or an amusement park or seeing a show for the first time.
Thank you so much for that, Jordy. I have to agree. Like when you provide these experiences for these people, you want it to be something they've never seen before, you know. And in order to do that, you got to put yourself in that space, like you said. Like you were planning a birthday party and it turned into something even greater. So that's kind of what you have to do when you plan these events. So thank you so much, Jordy, for that. Noreen, what's your spin on it?
Yeah, oh my gosh, Jordy, I'm sitting here captivated by like all of the description you're giving because you're really talking a lot about inspiration and vision. Having that vision, being willing to go out on a limb and say, this is what I think this should look like. This is how I'm going to capture the experience the guest wants. And then allowing anything around you to inspire you because we don't know what door is going to open and what that's going to welcome into our lives. And like you said, we have tools all around us to use to get inspired. Pinterest is a great one. I love Pinterest. Music is very powerful. I love and I'm really into art as well. So I get inspired when I go to art museums or even things like the aquarium or the park or just walking around a neighborhood and just listening to everything that's going on around me. There are a lot of ways to be inspired, but finding that inspiration and then bringing your vision alive with that, well, that's really awesome.
Mm.
Yeah, I love what you said, Norleen. On you could find your inspiration in anything, you know, like a piece of artwork could inspire you and give you an idea for even a dish or a dance or whatever it may be. You could find that beauty in everything. So thank you so much, Noreen, for that. Chef Lam, what's your spin on it?
Oh, the word that comes to mind, freestyle. What you just described, that's my world. And what I mean by that is I love art, I love dancing, I love music. I was a DJ in college, so
Let's
for me,
go.
like, ah, so when it comes to food and entertainment, but then you have a staff, think about this, develop and training. How do you
Mhm.
get your staff like this? Because when you have a guest and they're looking at you, I always say the ego eye. And what the ego eye is, it sees all the clear lines. How do you have them, body, mind, spirit, come together in a short period of time? And that's where teaching, right? And that is where you come in of saying, how can we do this where we only have, a few hours, and now you got to bring it to life. And to me, is no difference than back of the house, because the front of the house, I would say it's more stressful and more, heart attack modes, because guess what? You're looking at the clock and suddenly, this place has to look like a museum, where when people come in, they're gonna go, wow, you know? So to me, just listening to you right here, and that's how I use, you know, that skill level, that energy, that spontaneous into the back of the house.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely very true, Chef Lam. The front of the house and the back of the house have a lot of similarities, and the front, like you said, could often be more stressful and challenging because you're directly in front of the guests. You know, you have kind of less leeway to make mistake. So thank you so much, Chef, for that. So at some point in our life, we have all gone to a restaurant or event that has left us with a memorable experience, either good or bad. A good experience could lead us to wanting to come back for more. However, the opposite can lead us to bad reviews and often a loss of guests returning to your establishment or event. So what was the most memorable experience that you have had either at a restaurant or event, and what made it so memorable? Jordy, you want to start us off?
Yeah. For sure, my first event this past July was something I don't think I'll ever forget. I don't think I remember a lot of it because I kind of blacked out just on the fact that when you're in the process of curating and putting together, and you feel like you're a one-man band trying to get all these moving different pieces to operate together. I remember running around trying to make sure that the next acts were ready, that I was saying hi to people. I was trying to be present in the moment. So like you were saying, like stepping into the eagle eye and being like, what is all this about, and trying to understand everything from their perspective, but also making sure that things are running nice and smoothly. It was actually stepping back after the fact, and I was looking at the pictures from the event, and I started crying. I was like, I created this, and when you're able to look back and you're able to put into that perspective of what it is, that you work so hard towards, not really knowing where that final product was going to go, but actually seeing it for the first time from kind of that third lens, really shook me a little bit and made me realize what we're all capable of doing once you put your mind to it. So for sure, my first event is something that is very memorable, and amongst many other experiences that guests will have when it comes to their first, whether it's a dining experience, going to Disney World for the first time, or anything of that nature.
Wow, Jordy, I gotta say that was powerful just listening to you talk about that. And I got goosebumps hearing it, just seeing all the work that you put in and being able to look at everything you accomplished and surpassed and in your mind is amazing. And I could relate even with our podcast. It started off with a simple phone call with me and Chef Lam, and then it turned into what we have today, 28 episodes already. So how something small can lead to something big, and then you look back and wow, this is what I've done. So that's amazing, Jordy. Thank you so much for that. Noreen, what's your twist on it?
Yeah, I love this question, because I think something that we remember is how we feel when we attend an event, or even when we accomplish and execute an event. Seeing it from that third person when you're done and set up, and you see your guests are excited, or they're happy, they're enjoying the beautiful charcuterie display that you put up, or they're looking at the little photos that you put up of the couple, right, for a wedding, before a reception. So it's that emotional connection that really stands out, and you'll remember that for a really, really long time. And I think that I've experienced that just helping set up for small weddings, especially for close friends and family. And that is a very, very special experience. But what makes it special is seeing how people feel and how they react. And that's what makes it memorable. It's the people, and that, like you said, Jordy, earlier in the podcast, the vibe and the vision, the mood that you set is so, so important and so memorable.
For sure.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Noreen, what you said is about the people, and it's about the memories that you create with the people, and it's those small things that matter. So thank you so much for that. Chef Lam, what's your twist on it?
Well, you know what? The front of the house, back of the house, I did both. I was a waiter, so I understand what, front of the house is all about, and also was a host. So it's really good to have this perspective because, as far as, in the back of the house, you know, things going to happen. Mistakes going to happen. Someone's going to drop something. Someone's going to, but that is the beauty of it. That is the beauty of this industry, that it comes up, but then how do you clean it up, polish it, and at the end of the night, the guest goes, "Oh my God, the food was A plus." The front of the house, the service, the detail, connecting with the guest, connecting with the host. So there's a lot of things. It's like a magical act. In one way, you're like Houdini. You really are. And at the beginning, your heart is like this, but then you go, you are the orchestra. We're doing a symphony together.
Yeah.
So, and once you communicate that to your team, they go, all right, this is good. you're not going to go crazy because they know like, hey, you're set. You know, your emotion is down. You're in control. And that's where this industry is all about because you're the lead, you know, whether you're front of the house or back of the house, you're leading, you have a voice, and your voice is very powerful. You know, when something happens, you go, hey, it's okay. Let's go. That's it. And you do that. People get right back on their bicycle. They're, you know, they're riding. They're not on the ground and going like, oh my God, what just happened? So that is the beauty of our industry right there, right?
Yeah.
We cry about it, but then you go, look what we just did.
Oh, for sure. And something I just want to add really fast is you mentioned like we're orchestrating everything. A lot of people don't realize that once the product and everything is happening, we're still orchestrating. So as people are taking it all in and they're being so awed and inspired from everything that is happening around them, there could be a bajillion and one things that are going wrong. There could be, you know, one small thing that's going wrong. For us, you know, it's how we emote in that moment. Okay, I got to stay calm on the conductor. I got to keep everything orchestrated and moving well, because if not, you know, you can't have it crumble at your feet with a restaurant full of people, or all these people experiencing your event or what you've created for the first time in that moment. So I think the biggest takeaway is no matter what is always keeping that focus on what it is that end product is meant to be. And you can do whatever you want once the doors are closed and everyone's out of the way, because odds are you're probably not going to remember all that silly stuff by the end of it. You're going to be left with that impact of, I created something and it had its impact on those that were able to experience it.
Yeah, I love that point. And I love how you said, like you said, mistakes will be made, but it's about how you react to those mistakes, how you make it flawless and unnoticeable, and kind of just go through and think outside of the box is super important. So thank you so much for Jordy. So planning events, menus, or dinners happens weeks, months, and in some cases, years in advance. Events like this can often be stressful to plan and sometimes lead to many sleepless nights. However, it is important that in order to give your best possible experience to your guests, you must be at 100% yourself. So eating properly, working out, and decompressing are essential in this process. What are some healthy habits that you have to keep your mind, body, and soul in balance during stressful times? Jordy, you want to start us off?
Easiest answer is the gym. I just love going to the gym. I mean, working out, obviously keeping my body in shape as a professional dancer, but it's kind of a way of self-meditation and motivation, and like a therapy session. So I go in there, you know, I could be so tired and um, I don't even want to be there. Or, you know, I'm looking forward to my workout, knowing that it's going to get me through and give me the energy that I need to wake my brain up, but also know that my body is getting what it needs to perform at its best and just keep myself at my prime. Um, and it's not really a habit, but the one thing that I always fall and call to is music. And I think music ties in a lot of things of what I do, whether it's from the curating process to creativity to working out and how I'm feeling and emoting, or winding down after a long, crazy day of work, just sitting back and chilling and allowing, you know, what the music brings forward to my soul in that moment, and let it just ride out.
Yeah, I love that. Working out is definitely the heartbeat to everything we do, you know, how we perform. If our body's right, we're going to perform right. You know, if we eat right, we're going to perform right. But if we're tired, if we don't work out and we feel groggy, it's, you know, that's going to show in our events and in our work and everything. So you have to be at your best to give your best. So thank you so much, Jordy, for that. Noreen?
Yeah, Jordy, I love how you focused on keeping your body moving. I think that's very important, especially like when we have a lot of the stress hormone cortisol in our bloodstream. You have to just let it run its course and work it out. So I love to go. I'm lucky I live near a pool. I go for a swim. That's for me
Mm,
the easiest way to de-stress. It's just me in the water, no music, no people, and that's very helpful for me. And it's as simple as taking a walk, you know, taking a walk in the evening after work, or taking time to meditate and do yoga. I love to do that. but having a consistent routine to be able to lay back on that, to rely on that day in, day out, week in, week out is really what helps keep that big stress from happening in the first place. And making sure to eat a nourishing meal as well. I may be craving a piece of chocolate cake. That's one of my favorite, little treats to have. And it's okay to have some, but if I'm feeling really low energy, that's probably not going to make me feel better tomorrow. So having something that's more nutrient dense with some chocolate satisfies both of those, little cravings, but still keeps me fueled for the next day. So the next day when I wake up, I don't crash because I was so tired and I didn't take care of myself. So that's what works for me. And like you said, Jordy, just keeping that momentum moving. Just take a walk, do some stretching. It's free. Anyone can do it anytime.
For sure.
Yeah. I love what you, oh, go ahead, Jordy.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm just admiring.
Yeah, no, Noreen, I love what you said on the food part of it, because food is fuel. What you put inside of your body, it really has an effect on how you react. And that chocolate cake may weigh you down, make you feel drowsy, tired, but if it satisfies you, a little bite is okay. But having a balance is really what it's about. So thank you so much, Noreen, for that, Chef Lam.
Oh, you came into my world with that question right there, right? I call it body, mind, spirit, and food 24/7. And what that means is I go to the gym, and when I go to the gym, I see people and they're inspiring me. I go, wow, because of what they do or what routine they do. So that's the whole thing. It's because when you go to the gym, it's not just about you, because your eyes are there. People are in front of you and you look and go, oh, that's pretty cool. Or that, nah, you know what I mean? So that part, but then the supermarket, because the supermarket, when you go to the produce section, the vegetable section, the protein section, I go, okay, what am I gonna make? What's on sale? So, when I say body, mind, spirit, and food is a connection. And meaning if you eat organic, that's beautiful. Yeah, but if you're on your ass and you're not moving, that organic's not going to do much to your body. You know what I mean? You really have to activate it. And to me, meeting people and hearing story of how they approach their daily habits, and in our industry, we share. That is the key, because we all have a different approach of, releasing stress, rebuilding, repairing, mental. So that's the industry. It's a very beautiful industry because people do have disciplined structure, but the question is, you got to meet with them and you got to tap, and now are they willing to share stories with you?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I feel, is learning from other people how they do it. The generation before you, either good or bad, and learning what you could do and what is not as good to do is super important. And talking with people and connecting with people is definitely the way to do it. So thank you so much, Chef Lam, for that. So being in the hospitality industry is important to set goals and strive to surpass them, and pushing your limits to go further than you have ever imagined you could go. So those that challenge themselves and do what most others don't do become iconic and leave behind a legacy for all to remember. So what are some of your goals, and how do you plan to surpass them? And what legacy do you want to leave behind for people to remember?
It's a big question, because I feel like we don't always have the definite answer to what our ultimate goals are, because goals are ever changing. Your viewpoints and the evolution of who you are as a human is also always changing, based off of what environments and interactions you have in that current moment. But at least, let's say for my business, Waiting for Tonight, my ultimate goal, I see big name venues that I'm going to walk into and host this event at. So whether it's going to Miami and doing it at the Versace Mansion, or going back home to Long Island and doing it at Ohiga Castle, there's iconic venues that I know I would love to bring this elevated experience into, but also, seeing how we could take that general experience that someone who even has been lucky enough to step its foot into there and change it completely altogether, so that they're like, wow, is this really the same place? And now we're going to be experiencing high caliber arts of all forms, and meeting and networking with people that, you know, who have done it, who do the work and are making a names for themselves in the industry. So right now, that's a huge major goal of mine, and amongst many others, whether it's dance, fitness, and everything related.
I love that, Jordy, and I love the high dreams, the high visions, and you have to start small, you know, and with these small events, you know, people, you'll gain credibility and you'll gain recognition, and then eventually you'll be somewhere you never would have thought you would have been. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Jordy, for that. Noreen, what's your spin on it?
Yeah, I think Jordy, when you said as we evolve as humans, as we grow and change, that really struck a chord with me and stood out, because I think for me, my goal is to leave a legacy. And what that legacy specifically looks like, it changes as I get older, get more experience, get more knowledge, meet different people, change my perspective. You know, growing and learning is a never ending process, for us, and I think it should be, at least. And have a lot of different goals, and they mold and shape as I go through, you know, the years. But it's really wanting to leave a legacy, and for me that legacy is just having more access to healthy foods regularly for people in this country and in the world, especially for children. That's my biggest thing. So how are we going to accomplish that? We're going to figure it out. But that's the legacy that I want to leave behind. So finding goals along the way is how we build our legacy, and that really should be the beacon that we're reaching towards.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that, Noreen, and what you said on legacy. I actually have a quote that I came up with. It goes, "It all starts with a vision that turns into a burning passion that leaves behind a legacy for all to remember." You know, it starts in your
Wow.
head first, and then once you have it in your head, you put it to fruition. You act on it, and when you act on it, you know, it becomes something where people see it and they're like, "Wow, look at what he did." You know, he made me feel this way. You know, he accomplished this. That means it's possible for me as well. So it's just starting with that vision, and then once you have that vision, just acting on it, believing it's possible, and then the legacy will be left behind automatically. So thank you, Noreen, for that. Chef Lamb.
Great question, because right now, the Jedi and Yoda podcast is an icon. It's a legacy already. And what I mean by that is, think about the voices, the people from around the world who say, yeah, I want to come to your home. I want to share stories. So to me, you know, legacy and being an icon, they're very easy. And the reason why I say they're very easy is because the people in front of you, they're going to open the door and show you love, or the door doesn't open. So you go to the next door, and you go to the next door, and you keep knocking. You're like, hey, I got a lot of love, you know? So to me, that is something that the world doesn't do, because if it did, we will be following that, you know, podcast. You know, we would be saying, oh my God, what you guys are doing. But instead, we're the pioneer, you know? And I could say that honestly, yes, it feels amazing, you know? But remember, when you're a pioneer, it's lonely because everyone sees a different picture. And our picture is, you know what? I want you to be better than us. Think about that. I don't want you to be even the same. I want you to dance. I want you to move. I want you to express yourself in a way that it's so beautiful, elegant, respectful, you know, a gentleman, a lady, where the next generation could go, wow. So I could take all these ideas. So to me, you know, having Jody, I love arts. When you say dancing, I'm like, oh, finally, I love that. You know, that is my, you know, my passion, because it's about life. It's about people expressing themselves in a way that, wow.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty amazing. And like you said, Chef Lam, being the first is not always easy, and being different is not always easy. But when you take that path and you separate yourself, it'll really make a difference. And you have to be the lone wolf sometimes. You know, you have to be different, and not everybody's gonna agree with you. Not everybody's gonna want to jump on your bandwagon. But it's important to stay true to yourself and stay true to what you know is going to propel you forward, and that's what's best for you, and it'll definitely pay off. And that's kind of like my journey with when I became Young Chefs president for the ACF. You know, everybody told me not to go to the convention, everybody told me not to get involved, and I decided to get involved, and look where we're at now. And now we have this beautiful podcast. Now I've been able to accomplish so much. So it's all because I decided, okay, I'm gonna stick with my gut and I'm gonna go for it. So that's super important. So thank you so much, Chef Lam, for that. So to kind of wrap it up a little bit, what is the last piece of advice that you have for those pursuing a career in hospitality in the entertainment industry? Jordy, start us off.
It's to develop, oh my gosh, English, to develop your own identity, to develop your own sense of confidence and understanding of who you are or what your product is. You're not going to be able to sell anyone on a false hope. You have to know 100% with every fiber of your being, hey, this is what I know I'm capable of bringing to the table, and this is exactly who I am or what my brand and my product is going to be. So the more you could put it into practice and have conversations, even if it's with your dog, even if it's with your mom or the void for all we could say for lack of, the more you express it, the more you're going to understand of what it is that you're putting out there, because it is a business, it is a service that we're providing for others. So you have to know the fine craft of who you are, and being able to present it forward in the best ways possible, to be well received, from anyone and everyone that's going to support you, whether it's financially or emotionally, or just to even from afar and just seeing it through pictures, because they're going to see what hard work you've gone through day in and day out to make all that come to life. So just knowing who you are and how to bring it forward.
I love that, Jordy. Knowing who you are and staying true to who you are is important, not letting the influences of other people, change you in a negative way is important. Staying strong mentally is where it's at, mentally tough. Thank you so much, Jordy, for that. Noreen?
Yeah, I was thinking along the same lines as you, Jordy, like really know yourself. It's very important in an industry with so many different avenues of ways to be creative, be a business person, be a leader, create new experiences. But when you know yourself, also know your strengths and your weaknesses.
Mm.
Utilize your strengths and work on your weaknesses. Everyone has them. Find ways that you can highlight the things that you're good at, but knowing yourself isn't just knowing what you like to do on the weekend. It's really knowing how are you in a working environment? How are you in a social environment? How are you in a business meeting? Are you a good public speaker? And how can you work on those skills, that the soft skills especially, that'll take you very, very far in life. So know your skill set and always work to expand on your skill set, whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah, I love that, Noreen. And like you said, work on your strengths and weaknesses. Know them. There's many areas where I'm weak, and I'm trying to work on, getting stronger. I put myself in positions to where I could work on my weaknesses. Make myself uncomfortable, take myself out of my comfort zone so I could grow even further. So and in the strengths, I know the areas I'm stronger in, so I'll focus on different areas and use my strengths to my advantage. So thank you so much, Noreen, for that, Chef Lam.
Oh, another great question, to end this great podcast with this great guest. The things that I started off with: have an open mind, open ears, open mouth, open heart. That right there will teach you everything about this industry, because that's going to come in at you. It's going to be like garbage in, garbage out, garbage in, garbage out. what works, what doesn't work, and you're going to put it in the garbage. And right there, that's like life experience, because you're going through it. No one's telling you something, but you're seeing it, you're hearing it, and what does your heart say? And what does your body, you know what I mean? So spontaneous, this is the part of what live performance arts. That's what art's about. Your eyes are so powerful. The ego eye. How can I get that ego eye? You know what I mean? If you don't, then you understand why you didn't get up there, you know? So this is things of, think about GQ magazine. Look at GQ magazine. Look at all the covers. There's a reason why they have that cover there, you know? There's a reason. So it's not saying they're being stereotyped, just understand business, you know? And the rest, you're going to meet some great mentors. That's the key thing. You are going to meet some great people that love you, and there might be some people who don't love you, which is even better, because you're like, how can you not love this? You know?
Yeah, I love that, Chef. You know, you're gonna have the haters out there, but you're also gonna have the supporters, and it's important to realize and know the difference, and really stick close to the people that are there to support you, and that will lift you up. And it's a give and get relationship. You know, they'll give to you, and you give to them, and it turns into something really beautiful. So I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of this podcast today, Jordy. You really inspired us, really motivated us, and all of our viewers. So we really appreciate you being here today. And not only those that are listening to this call will be impacted, but those that are connected to them will also be impacted. So we really appreciate you. Thanks for listening, and see you guys in the next call.